Hello students, can you hear me? Hello students, can you hear me? Okay. So in today's class, we'll try to discuss about something like chips integration. Very simple, companies are not using, but it's better to know. Chips integration and BRF. These two topics we'll discuss today. So you need not concentrate more on this because companies are not using as of now. And BRF is purely functional consultant job. So you need not worry about that. Okay, so here I want to introduce one example on chips integration. Chips means is a full form, collaborative human interface parts. Collaborative human interface parts. That means you will be having individual parts, and from one part to another part we can maintain some connection. We can maintain connection between one part and another part in this chips integration. So that's the reason why they are calling it as collaborative human interface parts. So here in chips integration, there will be some concepts like input ports, output ports. Input ports is to receive the data, and output port is to send the data. This chips integration is part of floor plan manager itself. Generally, this chips integration is nothing but it's part of floor plan manager. Okay, so input port to receive the data, output port to send the data, and there will be iframe chips also to integrate websites. Into WebDynpro. If you want to integrate websites into WebDynpro, then you can also use iframe chips. So let us take one example, but before that, you need to understand for chips integration, we use following options like side panel, we call it as side panel, and chip catalog. Chip catalog contains these things. Chip catalog contains all these things: input, output, and something like iframes. They are part of chip catalog. That's the terminology we use. And side panel is for designing. Side panel is to open the chip catalog. And there will be a page builder. This page builder is for designing part. Designing chips and integrating with connections. Page builder is for designing chips and integration with connections. Integrate using connections. So these are the terms we use: side panel, chip catalog, page builder. Chip catalog contains all these things: input, output, and iframe options. Side panel is to open the chip catalog. page builder is to design the chips. And input is nothing but to receive the data, output is to send the data, iframe is to integrate website through chips. So the component use for creating and designing the chips. The component used for designing and integrating the chips is WDR chip page. This is the component you have to use. This is a component. It's a standard component given by SAP for designing that. I can say this is like a chip tool. You can design the chips by using this tool, WDR chip page. But I can say it is internally standard component for chips integration. So let us take one example here. My requirement is, say for example, I will create one input field. I will take one input field. If I provide, say for example, SAP, I should get the results. Output of SAP results should be displayed in Google page. So Google page means you have to take iframe here. So this is our requirement. Generally we develop these things. In requirement, if I provide input field with SAP as a value, then all the output SAP results should be displayed in Google page. If I provide, say for example, something like Webdin Pro, then all results of Webdin Pro should be displayed from Google page. All Webdin Pro results should be displayed in Google page. Say for example, if I provide something like, say for example, Lufthansa or American Airlines, then all the results related to American Airlines should be displayed here in Google page. That's a requirement. So let us understand the steps. So first of all, you go to SEIT. And you can see you have to use WDR underscore chip page. That's the component you have to use. WDR underscore chip page. That's the component you have to use. Just double click. That's the standard component. It will open that. So what you do is here, this is like a tool given by SAP. What you try to do is right click on your application. WDR chip page is a standard application. Right click here and try to create one configuration. Right click on that and you have to create one configuration here for that application. So it will open this screen. You have to right click on your standard application and create configuration. So it will open this particular screen. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So you can see, so first of all, okay. So first of all, what you need to do is you have to provide the configuration ID. Something like Oasis chip page configuration. You can give some name and just click on create and save it in your package. So you'll get this screen. So in this screen, you provide some configuration name again and press enter. After providing that name here, press enter and go to component configuration. Just go to component configuration. So this component configuration is not available, so click on create and save it in a package. So you'll get this screen. In this screen, you can provide some side panel width. When side panel is loaded, what should be the width that you can provide here? Something like, say for example, 400 pixels. Then you can save it. Now, you can close this screen. So, when you close it and when you refresh here, that application configuration will be available when you expand. After providing side panel width, in application configuration, you'll get that your application configuration here. You can see this Z-OASIS chip page configuration. That is updated here. So what you do is double click on this and go to Webdin Pro configuration test in administration mode. On toolbar you can see configuration test execute in administration mode. You have to select this. Configuration test execute in administration mode, you have to select that. You design, you have to go to administration mode. If you want to test, directly go to test option. Administration mode is for designing part. So now you can see this is a page builder. This is nothing but a page builder. You can see in page builder it is useful for designing chips and integrating connections. So at the same time, right side corner you can see there is a chip catalog. In this page builder, right side corner there is a chip catalog here. So you can select that chip catalog, so you'll get these chip options. If you want to close, you can close it. So you can see this. So now, first of all, let us create one iframe chip. Let us provide one iframe chip here. So you can right click here. iframe chip is for displaying the Google results. I want to integrate application with Google, and from Google I should get the output results. So let us create one iframe chip. Right click here and create. So it will open the screen for creating iframe chip. So this is like, say for example, OASIS underscore iframe chip 123. You can give some name and create. So it will create this. So here under header section, when you go to iframe chip, iframe is for integrating website. So go to header section and provide the URL address. This is important. HTTP, something like you can provide URL address www.google.com and slash you can provide search question mark. You can provide like this. Let me use this. In iframe chip, use URL address as something like this. If you want to get your output results, you have to use like this. Search question mark. Google.com / search question mark. You can get the results from any website if it is a search engine. From any search engine websites, you can get the results based on our input. So let us provide that. This is what we have provided, and provide some icon, something like icon underscore. That's a general thing. Green underscore light, something like that. And you can provide title, output results, or Google iframe chip. iframe chip. Description, some height, you can provide some 400 pixels. So these are the options you have to provide. Then save it. Now for this URL, you have to provide some parameters. You have to provide some parameters here. You can right click and create one import. Import is nothing but, that is something like you can give it as Q. Q means query. Name of the port I can give something like Q, that is for query results. Based on input you can get the output by using query. That means you can give it as Q here. And for that you have to define some parameter info. Again you can provide field name as Q. Okay, and then you try to provide some tag. Tag is nothing but you can provide it as, say for example, query. Tag is like description. So that means what happens is when you try to execute this application, while executing this chip application, it will take URL address like this. It will take, this is actual URL address, but it will take Q equal to some value. We are providing up to here such, but while executing the results, it should have Q equal to some, say for example SAP, Q equal to some Vijay, these are the inputs. Q equal to, say for example, American Airlines. So that will be the input. So that is configured just now. While executing the application, you will get like this, some Q equal to, say for example, SAP. Or I want to search with WebDynPro. I want to get all the websites which are related to WebDynPro. Or you can search with any other parameter. So WebDynPro is the input here. So that this type of query is designed because of these parameters. Because of these parameters. So just save it now. Now you can close this. And remember this is the iframe chip we have created. Now what you do is you go to the chip catalog, just refresh, go to chip catalog now. You can see under iframes your chip is added here. You can see Z-OASIS iframe chip 123. This is a chip we have created just now. Z-OASIS iframe chip. But before using that iframe chip, you have to use one standard chip for input purpose. For input purpose, what you can do is you can use chip with import. If it is not working, I'll use chip with output. I am having some confusion, but I'll try to use input value by using chip with import. So you can drag drop here. You can drag drop, you can see that. You select your import, drag drop into page builder. This is a page builder screen. You'll get like this. And you can add one more row. You can add one more row. In that row, you can drag drop. You can drag drop your iframe chip. So you can drag drop here into page builder. You'll get something like this. Okay, it will open later, don't worry. Okay, so it will open later when you execute the application. Now you can see, so here, this is a chip with import, this is a iframe chip. This is input and Google is the output here. So what you need to do is you need to maintain connections. If you want to maintain connection, okay, before that what you do is, before maintaining connections, right click on this import, go to tags and manage the tags. Manage the tag and you have to provide the tag name. I think we have provided one tag name while creating iframe chip, that is query. So you can select that. Query is the tag I provided for iframe chip. So you can select that now and click on add. click here, query, and just click on add and save it in your package. And after that you have to maintain some connection. So you can see there is an option, display connection. So here you can provide source chip as something like output, and you can use something like this. This is a parameter. Just click on apply and save it. If it's not working, I'll change the properties. You have to maintain connection between input and your output. Save it now. And let us test it here. Just refresh the, double click and go to this execute option. It is not working. Okay, let me change the properties and let me try. Let us close this. So this is a connection. So let me go to display connection of iframe. Okay, here you can see it's not taking. Okay, let me try with something like output. Let me go to chip plug and let me remove this input. It is not working, so let me try with another one. So you can see WebDim Pro chips. Let us go with chip with output. I'm trying to drag drop. Okay, this should work. So this is a chip with output you have to take if you want to provide the input. You take chip with output is the chip name when you want to provide the input. So, and what you do is you try to right click here, manage the tags and provide the tag name something like query, click on add and save it. Then what you do is you go to connection, here. Where is that? Okay, just go to this connection here, iframe chip connection, and here you have to select chip with output, which we have created. Chip with output is nothing but your input. And here you try to select output with parameter value. The parameter value is nothing but it will be Q. Q is equal to that parameter value that will be supplied here. Q equal to some parameter value that will be supplied, so click on apply. Okay, just click on apply and close it, then save it. Now let's run this application, it should work. So go to your actual program. This is actual configuration ID we have created. Go to execute option. open properly. So that is a problem with this particular browser. You try with another browser, it should display. So whenever you provide SAP, it should display that output directly in this page. Instead of this particular error, it should display that output here. You can see it is trying to take that SAP as input automatically, and it is trying to display the results of SAP here. So similarly, say for example, if I provide WebDyn Pro Fire output, actually the results should be displayed in this page. But because of some browser problem, it is not displaying, so you can open in a new window. As you can see, it is opening the results related to WebDyn Pro. All these results. Something like if you provide, say for example, Naukri jobs, then open the output, you can see it is going to that website. And it is opening all the results related to Naukri here. So actually this output should be displayed within this iframe. Remember that. Because of some browser problem, it is not displaying results in the same window, but it is displaying the results in the next new window. That's a browser problem, you need not worry, but this is a procedure. But frankly speaking, in real time, people are not using this one. You need not worry about all these things. You can see it is displaying ABAP results. No. So just go through this concept. It's very simple. And there is one more thing that you need to know, but it's not used by technical people. So one more concept is like BRF, and this is a tool for functional people. So what they try to do is, they try to provide functional people, that means business analyst, we call it as. BRF means business rule framework. Business rule framework. And this is a tool for functional people. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sunil, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so here, so for opening BRF, we use a T code. Functional people will use a T code, that is BRF plus. That itself is the T code. That itself is a T code. So what they try to do is, So functional people, what they do is they define some rules. Rules are defined by functional consultants in this tool. So rules are defined by functional consultant, and they also provide some formulas. Formulas are also defined by this functional consultant in this tool. And expressions are also defined by functional consultant in this particular tool. Rules, formulas, expressions, and calculations are also defined by functional people here in this particular tool. Okay, so say for example, something like here you can see if leave request status is something like approved, then say for example we are displaying image as green. That is one of the rule. You can define these rules. Functional people can define these type of rules in a central repository that is nothing but VRF. Similarly, if leave request status is pending, then you can define one rule that is red. Image should be red or something like yellow. If leave request status is rejected, then it should be green or something like red. So these are the rules that you can define directly in VRF tool. These rules will be defined by functional people. Not only that, say for example, if employee status is active, then you can provide something like, then you can display icon as some green light. Say for example, if employee status is something like retired, the employee status is retired, then you can provide it as something like red light here. If employee status is in notice period, then you can display something like yellow here. So these are some of the rules you can define directly in VRF. Instead of providing the rules in Excel sheet, you can also provide those rules under VRF. Instead of defining the Excel sheet, you can directly provide it in VRF tool. That's a central repository. So other developers can access these type of rules and they can use it inside their coding part. And not only they say, for example, tax calculation, there will be some formula. That formula will be given by functional consultant. Say for example, revenue calculations. So that's a formula. The formula will be given by functional consultant here. Not only that, salary statement calculation. So that formula will be given by some HR consultant. That what should be the salary equal to so and so plus and minus whatever, that formulas will be defined. So wherever you have formulas, so those formulas also can be defined directly in VRF tool. And they can also use all these things. If, else if, end if expressions while defining the rules. They can also use case, when, and end case statements while defining the rules. So they can define expressions, formulas, calculations, and something like some conditions. They can provide all these things directly in VRF tool so that other developers and other people in that organization can use the same formula consistently in everywhere in the program, wherever they are using these things. In coding part, they have to apply these rules. But functional consultant will give the rules in the BRF tool. Earlier, we used to get these type of requirements through Excel sheet, but now you can directly use BRF. So here, let me open that. The T code here is BRF plus, or else you can also use this URL. Let me open that. BRF plus is the T code. So I'm trying to use one T code, BRF plus, that's a T code, it will open that workbench directly in a browser. Or directly you can use this particular URL. You can see this. So in that URL, this is a standard name, FDT underscore WD underscore workbench. This is for BRF plus 2. So it will open this browser. To open this, just click on log on. And this is a standard. In real time also, those people will use the same tool. So the same component name, you can see this, Business Rule Framework Plus. And here, what you can do is you can create your application. Whichever rules, expressions, formulas they want to provide, they have to provide in one single application. Application specific rules, application specific formulas, they can provide just by creating this. So let me create one application here and let me show some options. You can provide some application name, create and navigate. So BRF screens are also developed by SAP using WebDimpro framework. BRF plus tool related screens are developed using WebDimpro. So it's a web-based tool. So BRF Plus is a web-based tool. Just remember that. For functional people, so you can save it in a package. I think package is compulsory. Let me check. So you have to create one package. So let me do that. What's the package? T code SC21. Let me create one package. create one package here. I just save it. Now you can go to your BRF screen. You can search that package. It's not opening. Let me search with this. It's invalid. Duplicated. Or else let us choose this one. So you will get this one. So in this again, you can right click your application. Here when you right click your application, you will get several options here. So this is used by functional people. When you right click, you will get something like actions tab, expressions, you can see functions, rules, rule sets, etc. And when you select something like expression with formula, there is a formula option, so they will get one editor here. You can provide some formula name, say for example Z salary formula. So they have to provide like this. So you'll get one editor here again. So it's a mathematical editor. You can use all mathematical operations, logical operations, and, or, not, etc. They can also use greater than, less than, equal to, and all mathematical operators, multiplication, addition, subtraction, everything they can use. And along with that, they can use some functions here. They'll try to use, functional people will try to use all these options for defining one formula here. When you select, say for example, something like minimum, here automatically in this result set you will get that minimum function here. You can see that. So whichever functions you try to select, it will be updated in your result. Let me go to that. Say for example, I am selecting concatenate. So that operation will be available here in this text edit box. So they have to define the formulas here. Like that, they can also use if-else conditions. So they can right click here and create something like, there will be one option like, okay, right click on application, create, you will get some rule here. You can select that and it will allow you to create one rule name. Something like Z leave request rule. whatever. Set leave request rule, some name I'm providing. So you can see they have to provide if else expressions here. If, then, else and end if. These type of expressions they have to provide. All these things. If else, then, and end if expressions. So that means they have to provide these type of things. In the previous step, you can provide these type of formulas. And here, they can also make use of, functional people can also make use of case, when, and end case. So they can right click here, create some rule, or you can use expression as case. You can see this. You can use expression as case, so it will open that. Set case option. So you can see when and all these things are available. When you use when statement, you can see there are some operations that can be handled with all these options. So they have to take care of all these things. So if they want to test this particular rule or formula or anything, then they have to go to tools and simulation. There is a button here on top option. In the menu bar, there is a tools option with simulation. Simulation is for testing purpose. Whether their formula is valid or whether their calculation is valid or invalid, that will be displayed here when you click on simulation. So developer point of view, you need not worry about these things, but it's better to know where the rules are defined, where expressions are defined. If you want to know, you have to open this tool and you can get those things. So just these are the responsibilities. Rules, formulas, expressions, calculations, they are defined inside BRF tool by functional consultant. That's only, just to make you understand this point, I have opened that tool. But companies, they are not using this tool. This is very newly introduced by SAP, but not yet into implementation. So nothing to worry about this. So let me save this. So I'll send this video and I'll try to send this particular text file to you by tomorrow. So mostly tomorrow I may be starting some Adobe Forms. Tomorrow I may be starting Adobe Forms, so just please try to attend from the beginning. So today's class, it is not that important, nothing to worry, okay? Just go through this theory part and just try to practice one example on chips. Give some input and it should give the output.